President Trump tackling the issue of protesting NFL players at a rally in Alabama for Senator Luther Strange last night. Mr. Trump saying the NFL shouldn't stand for players who kneel during the national anthem. Hello, everyone. I'm Arthel Neville. Welcome to a brand new hour inside America's news headquarters.
And Arthel, good to be with you, as always.
Always
Good to have you back. And hello, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Eric Shawn. Well, as you may remember, former San Francisco 49er Colin Kaepernick, well, he started this practice last season when he took a knee during a pregame game during the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner. He says he was protesting what he called police brutality and social injustice. Well, the president last night used a word we're not going to say right now, saying that NFL players who do that, well, they should be fired because the players show a, quote, total disrespect of our heritage by refusing to stand during our national anthem. He also took on another sport, too, the NBA. And all this as the Republican last-ditch bill to try and repeal Obamacare stands on shakier ground tonight than ever. Kristen Fisher is live in Somerset, New Jersey, where the president has been, with more nearby at the Bedminster Golf Estate. Hi, Kristen.
Hey, Eric. Well, from North Korea threatening to conduct another nuclear test to Iran conducting a ballistic missile test, there is so much happening in the world today. And yet the number one thing that Americans are talking about on Twitter is this growing feud between President Trump and some of the top players in both the NFL and the NBA. And President Trump this afternoon really only added fuel to this growing controversy with another tweet that came out just a few hours ago. I want to share it with you. It reads, quote, if a player wants the privilege of making millions of dollars in the NFL or other leagues, he or she should not be allowed to disrespect our great American flag or country and should stand for the national anthem. If not, you're fired. Find something else to do. Now, the commissioner of the NFL has come out and called President Trump's comments divisive. The head of the players union has also put out a statement saying, quote, the comments were a slap in the face to the civil rights heroes of the past and present. So we have this growing feud with the NFL and now to the NBA, where President Trump on the same day has disinvited Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors from visiting the White House after winning the NBA championship. Curry had said that he didn't want to go because of some of the things that President Trump had said. Specifically some of the comments that he had made after what happened in Charlottesville. So President Trump today said fine and rescinded his invitation.
We've never seen anything quite like this because we've never had a president like President Trump. And we also live in an age of social media, and everybody has a voice. And these players who have been quiet for a number of years and have been told just to stick to sports don't want to stick to sports. They want to have their feelings heard, and they have a social conscience, and they want to have social change.
So President Trump continuing with this war with some of the biggest players in the NFL and the NBA, but he's also continuing to go to war with members of his own party who are standing in the way of the latest bill to repeal and replace Obamacare. Now, there are 3 senators in particular that are really considered to be make-or-break votes, and President Trump today called out all 3 of them, Senator Rand Paul, Lisa Murkowski, and John McCain, but he saved his sharpest criticism for Senator McCain. He said, quote, John McCain never had any intention of voting for this bill, which his governor loves. He campaigned on repeal and replace. Let Arizona down. And no matter what you say, a no vote from McCain, which was announced yesterday, would be a major, major setback for this bill, if not a death blow outright. And of course, Eric, he did this just 2 months ago and back in July with the last Republican attempt to repeal and replace Obamacare. Eric?
Yeah, I remember him walking on the Senate well, torpedoing that.
Thumb down.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Kristen, thank you. In a few minutes, we'll be talking to Mike Round, Senator from South Dakota, on his view on what Senator McCain did and on the bill's future. Thank you. Arthel?
And this is a Fox News alert. The fiery rhetoric intensifying between Washington and Pyongyang as North Korea's foreign minister delivers a blistering speech to the United Nations General Assembly. Ri Yong-ho calls President Trump, quote, a mentally deranged person full of megalomania. This comes after the president said in his UN speech on Tuesday that the U.S. will, quote, totally destroy North Korea if Washington is forced to defend itself or its allies. Brian Yennis is live at the United Nations headquarters here in New York with more. Brian?
Good evening, Arthel. North Korea wasted no time today in its 21-minute address to the United Nations General Assembly. Ri Yong-ho, the foreign minister, making his own threat to the United States and to President Trump, saying that President Trump's rhetoric makes it, quote, inevitable for that a rocket launch will be launched toward the U.S. mainland. That coming from the foreign minister today. Now, he is speaking on behalf of North Korea's President Kim Jong-un. He also went on to say that President Trump is a mentally deranged person. He referred to U.S. allies, South Korea and Japan as, quote, stooges. Remember, Trump mockingly called Kim Rocket Man and on a suicide mission. Well, today, Ho, speaking on behalf of his boss, said President Trump, not Un, is the man on a suicide mission.
During his 8 months in power, he has turned the White House into a noisy marketing place full of crackling sounds of abacus beats, and now he has tried to turn the UN arena into a gangster's nest where money is respected and bloodshed is the order of the day.
Now, this week, the war of words has continued between both leaders. Kim Jong-un releasing an unprecedented statement yesterday, calling Trump a mentally deranged dotard yesterday, and the president tweeting back in kind that Kim is a, quote, madman who will be tested like never before. But today's North Korea's foreign minister blasted UN Security Council sanctions. Those recent sanctions include going after North Korea's textiles and natural gas industries, as well as foreign workers. Ho also defended the nation's nuclear program as necessary to defend itself from the United States.
The U.S. claims that the DPRK's possession of H-bomb and ICBM constitutes a global threat, even at the UN arena. But such claim is a big lie, which is just tantamount to the notorious big lie faked up by the U.S. in 2003 about the existence in Iraq of weapons of mass destruction in order to invade that country.
Now, also happening today in an effort to halt North Korea's nuclear program, China announcing that it will limit energy supplies to North Korea and it will stop buying textiles as well. Arthel.
Brian Yennis, thank you very much, Brian.
Meanwhile, back in our hemisphere, there was quite a scare today in Mexico. Another earthquake that forced rescue workers to suspend some searches for the survivors of Tuesday's larger quake. This is the number of dead now. And that quake in central Mexico has risen to 305 people. Jonathan Hunt right now live in Mexico City with the desperate race against time. Good evening, Jonathan.
Good evening, Eric. That earthquake this morning was centered some 300 miles south of Mexico City in Oaxaca state. There are reports coming in of several people being killed in that quake and considerable damage. It did not do any further damage here in Mexico City, but it certainly rattled nerves when the earthquake alarms were heard at 7:55 this morning. A lot of people, obviously already on edge, rushed into the streets. Many buildings, including our hotel, were evacuated, and the search and rescue missions underway here in Mexico City were forced to pause for a while. They are now back underway. One of them right behind me here. Rescue workers, you can see there, dozens of them on the top of the rubble of what was once an office building. Among the rescue workers there, still hoping to find survivors, is a U.S. team from the Los Angeles County Fire Department. They are a famed urban search and rescue team. They're part of what is a slew of U.S. aid coming into Mexico, and the U.S. ambassador to Mexico told me today that the United States remains committed to Mexico's long-term recovery. Listen here.
Initial response, food, water, that sort of thing, is actually overflowing in the city of Mexico. The question is, how are you going to rebuild and how are you going to do long term? And we will take our cue from our Mexican counterparts and we'll see what's needed and what we're able to help provide.
Now, veteran rescue workers will tell you that the outside limit, generally speaking, for how long a person can survive in these conditions, no food, no water, the heat that we've been experiencing here in Mexico City, is 4 days, 96 hours. Eric, we are now well past that mark, but these rescue workers are not giving up, and of course, all of Mexico is still hoping for a miracle. Eric?
Yeah, as we all are, and you can always pray for miracles. Jonathan, thank you. Marthel?
Indeed. Well, consumer advocacy groups now warning of a new scam that could victimize those hit hard by Hurricane Harvey for a second time. We'll tell you how. Plus, the GOP effort to repeal and replace Obamacare looking uncertain after Arizona Senator John McCain says he won't back the latest proposal. But Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price says this fight is far from over.
It's not dead is because it's not finished. The bill hasn't been completed. We continue to work with the authors on it through this weekend, and the bill will be likely rolled out early next week.